Hello everyone, and welcome to Kenny's Corner, where we talk about fantasy baseball and I give you my best tips of the year. On this episode, we're going to talk about who to buy low and who to sell high. And then at the very end, I'll give you a very useful tip for fantasy baseball in general. My first segment will be on who to sell high. We'll start with Brett Gardner. Brett Gardner has 9 home runs this year for the Yankees in only 39 games. And at 33 years old, his career high so far for one season has been only 17. So it's kind of an anomaly, and I don't think he'll keep it up. Even though he's in a great hitter's ballpark, Yankee Stadium, he's been there his whole career, so this shouldn't have a dramatic effect on his home run number. Next up, we got Salvador Perez. Salvador Perez already has 11 homers, halfway to his career high of 22. But the Royals are 28th in batting average, so he won't have that many RBI opportunities or score that many runs. So his fantasy value will be greatly weakened because of this. The Royals are one of the worst teams in baseball, and that will definitely affect Salvador Perez's fantasy value, which will make his fantasy value not too great. Last but not least, for options to sell high, is Jason Vargas. Jason Vargas has a shiny 2.3 ERA this season, yet his career ERA is over 4, and his last 2 starts haven't been too pretty, with one being having a 13.5 ERA and the other him having a 4.5 ERA. So he's already showing signs of slowing down. Jason Vargas has 5 wins, but as I talked about before, the Royals' offense is not very good. So 5 wins seems pretty fluky, and he won't get that much run support for the rest of the season. So I advise that you sell him high. Next, we'll move on to buy low. Kyle Schwarber is the first player who comes to mind for me. Schwarber has been known by many analyzers as being one of the best young hitters in baseball. He plays for one of the best teams in baseball, the Chicago Cubs. Wrigley Field is historically known as a hitter's park when the wind is blowing out, and the wind will start blowing out more and more as we move along the season. He's been batting leadoff the whole season, but recently has been moved down to second, which is not too big of a change for his fantasy value. And batting at the top of any great order, like the Chicago Cubs, is a major boost to any fantasy value. Only batting 184, but his track record speaks for itself. Her numbers and his potential as a hitter overall have already been shown, and he already made a big difference when he came back during the World Series. This is his first full season in the bigs, so we expect a little bit of a drop-off. Like Mike Trout, he didn't have a great start to his big league career, and he ended up winning Rookie of the Year. So I expect him, Kyle Schwarber, to be a great player this year. Next, we got Jason Kipnis. Jason Kipnis started this season on the disabled list, so he's been off to a slow start. But he bats atop the order for one of the best teams in baseball, last year's American League champs, the Cleveland Indians. Adding at the top of that order, he should get plenty of chances to score runs. Last year, he had 23 homers, a career high. And this past week, he already doubled his homers from 2 to 4. Is showing that he's finally getting healthy, and he's ready to roll. So definitely try to trade for him if you can. Last but not least, Kyle Seager. Kyle Seager is one of the most consistent hitters in baseball and has shown it every year since he's come to the bigs. The least amount of home runs he's hit is 20 when he's played a full season. And this year he's only has 4. 30 homers and 99 RBIs. And so far this year he only has 4 homers and 22 RBIs. So I expect a big uptake for Kyle Seager. Last we're going to cover today is a very underrated fantasy strategy, in my opinion. Every fantasy team should have one spot on the roster reserved for picking up starters. This is a great strategy because you could have up to how many pickups your league allows, that many starts. Unless you are big on ERA and WHIP, this will help you in a lot of categories, and in points leagues, you will get incremental points for each and every pitcher you get. So having a lot of pitchers never hurts. Alright, that's it for Kenny's Corner. Stay tuned for more fantasy baseball advice every week.